What's up, YouTube? And you may hear my son over there playing Gmod in this next room in his bedroom. Thanks to those paper-thin walls I keep complaining about, at least I can hear him very clearly. But he's having fun. He's enjoying playing around with a sandbox game, and he's really learned a lot and come a long way with Gmod. Anyways, I'm hoping to get to my Honey Boo Boo talk just because there's two developments with the show, one of which, as a parent, just absolutely disgusts me, and it just makes me mad. It makes me very angry. Because why am I a person who gets hassled while somebody like Honey Boo Boo and them can do whatever they want, and people like CPS stay far, far away? Oh, that's right. Because she's got a sitcom. If I had a sitcom, I could practically molest my child, and CPS would do nothing about it because I'm popular. Sad, sad state of affairs that we live in. I'm serious. But some things I wanted to talk about today are very good things. Some things are more social hypocrisy. And then, of course, there is the Honey Boo Boo thing there. So I'm just going to kind of dive right in here and try to work on some things. One thing that caught my eye, although it's Fox News, so take it as you will. Scientists seek adventurous woman to have Neanderthal baby. Where's the Flintstones when you need 'em? Ha 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 ha. A professor of genetics at Harvard Medical School believes he's capable of bringing a long-extinct Neanderthal back to life. All he's lacking is the right mother. Now, when we're talking genetics, what do they mean by the right mother? Because I was talking about this when I even shared this link on Facebook. It's like, you know, I know you're going to be saying, well, why the hell are we doing this anyways? But part of me is like, okay, let's look at the genetic crapshoot that we're getting ourselves into, shall we? This is no different than when Stalin unknowingly signed off on a scientific experiment to try to create a human-gorilla hybrid army for, the motherland. Of course, had Stalin read it, and of course when he later found out about the experiment, he wanted nothing to do with it and promptly shut it down. But in its infancy, in its heyday, what they were trying to do was to take, they tried to inseminate female monkeys with human sperm, and when those didn't take, then they tried and almost got to the point of succeeding in terms of at least implementation of trying to do it by having gorilla semen, I guess I can say that, it's not exactly a terribly bad word, into human females. Had they succeeded, because the idea is that genetically we don't have as many variants and as many genetic barriers to possibly being able to crossbreed. But it's extremely unlikely that we would actually be able to get a mix. But if we got a mix, just like with this story, what would we get? You might get the strength of the gorilla and the intelligence of the gorilla in a semi-human form. That's no use to you. You might get none of the strength of the gorilla, but the intelligence of the gorilla. Not that I'm saying gorillas aren't intelligent. They do have their high level. They can learn sign language, for God's sakes. But you could get the intellect of that, which is not quite on par with humanity's. For the most part, and then you have a worthless person here. You don't have what you're looking for, because the idea was they wanted to breed a soldier that was non-complacent, that they could feed with rations, because if I'm remembering correctly, gorillas can be a bit like crocodiles. They can go a little bit longer than most humans can between feedings. And so if you have an army of people who aren't going to question orders, are possibly superhuman strong, and and you can feed them for practically peanuts, you would have the best of every world, except for genetics doesn't work that way. You have to also realize, what do they mean by the right mother? They're looking for an adventurous woman, but now they need the right adventurous woman. See, here's the problem. Here's the problem. We've got a little thing known as genetics, a little thing known as evolution. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. The Earth was created in 7 days. We were created first, and then people like my girlfriend were created from my rib, right? Screw you. But see, is the DNA, because this is plausible, okay? Let's throw this out here. It's plausible, but only by so much. And if the wrong genetic variables are in place, then he can implant as much Neanderthal DNA into a woman's egg that he wants, and it's not going to take. That's why we have divisions. That's why we have things like the classic argument, well, if we evolved from monkeys, how come they're still monkeys? Which we didn't actually evolve from monkeys. We branched off from a divergent tree, a genetic tree divergent, where they developed in their type of species, we developed in our type of species, and as time went on and as species and genetics were passed on and new mutations were introduced into the gene pool via genetics, via genetic mixing, via evolution, we became unable to interbreed with each other anymore. Which anybody with even a rudimentary understanding of evolution can understand that. But no, I'm forgetting where I'm at. I'm in a place where people feel that they have the right to legislate morality. Yes, I'm not going to let that go. That still bugs me. Point is, okay, so let's say the genetic barriers aren't there. You're dealing with old DNA. You're dealing with old DNA strands. You're dealing with mutations that don't exist in modern genetics, that don't exist in the modern genome. Now, granted, we still share a lot of those ancient markers. Some of the stuff that we have is from olden times, are some of the junk DNA that, in some cases, when flipped on, causes things such as autism. I'll say that again. Certain mutations, some of which that turn on some of the junk genes in our genome, causes autism. Not mercury solvents or specific ingredients in vaccines. Sorry to burst your bubble there, anti-vaxxers. Point is, would we have something that was more Neanderthal than modern in terms of its DNA? Would we have something where the modern DNA and mutations would actually override the old mutations? I mean, you're talking about somebody who needs more than just a woman. Let's be very clear here. You need or at least more than just one egg, because there's so many variants that could cause the egg to not take, for the insemination itself to not take. Not the least of which is, not the least of which, of course, is things like stress and things going on with the woman herself. But not only that, some of these might go so far, and then the body's natural reaction to this foreign DNA, this ancient DNA, may not be as favorable as we think. The body might try to attack it and stop it from coming to term. There's so many variables here because genetics is extremely that. It is an absolute crapshoot here. But is this a worthless experiment? Absolutely not. This is a chance for us to bring to the forefront the DNA and the sequencing of some of our ancestors, to be able to study almost a living fossil, to be able to look at the starts of certain genetic diseases, certain genetic illnesses that we have out there that are still very much eluding us as far as how to fix them. And through an experiment like this, though I'm not saying we wildly start breeding Neanderthals, we might be able to yield a lot of things that this article just doesn't cover. It's interesting. Could be a bad thing, could be a good thing, but it's not something that I think that we should be. This isn't like Jurassic Park where we're saying, oh, everybody's busy thinking if they could, when they should be asking if they should. Sorry, we do not need a quote from Jeff Goldblum in this case. I mean, as long as we do this right, this could yield many benefits towards future humanity, towards future genetics. So I say personally, go for it if you can make it work. If you can't, though, I don't see a reason to fund this if it's not something that's completely assured to work.